Okay, so we were supposed to come up with a conjecture, what we thought 2 to the negative 3 would be. Remember, conjecture is just an educated guess, like a hypothesis, but for math. Did anyone think they know what 2 to the negative 3 would be? Any ideas? You guys all had something written down, so share it. What do you guys think? 1/8, okay. Anyone have something different? How many have 1/8? Anyone else have 1/8? One other person? Yes, what do you guys have? 8. Who has 8? A couple of us. Any others? Yeah.
I got
0.5. We have 0.5. Okay, anyone else? Yeah? -8. Who got -8? I'm guessing that's most of the room. Okay. Hopefully you guys were able to explain why you thought that was the case. So let's see the patterns. So our pattern is 2 to the third should have been 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. And then 2 squared is 2 times 2, which is 4. And 2 to the first is just 1, 2, which is 2. And 2 to the 0, we should all know now is 1. We talked about that. Did anyone see a pattern? What pattern are we noticing? Yeah? Very good. You're going to have less multiplication of 2's. Very good. As your exponents are smaller. Yep. It halves itself or divides by 2 each time. That's the pattern I want you guys to see. From 8 to get to 4, we divide it by 2. So 8 divided by 2 is 4. Okay. As the exponent gets smaller, goes down by 1, the solution is going to be divided by 2. So 4 divided by 2 is 2. Then 2 divided by 2 would be 1. Okay. And that's the pattern you should see. Write that down. When the exponent decreases by 1, okay, when the exponent decreases by 1, the result is divided by 2 of the previous result. Or divided by the base. In this case, the base is 2. So if the base was 3, we'd be dividing by 3. If the base was 4, we'd be dividing by 4 each time. So now hopefully we can extend that pattern, okay, to the negative exponents. So we have 2 to the 0. If I take the 1 and I divide it by 2, my exponent will go down by 1. So I get -1. From 0 to negative, from 0 exponent to -1 exponent, I would just divide the 1 by 2. And I would get 1 over 2, or 1/2. We would do the same thing again. I know you guys got it. So excited. I love it. I know, genius. You guys math money for that? Because you had the correct answer. Okay, so then we're going to take that and divide it by 2. So let's go to, if you've ever cooked with your mommy or baked anything, okay? You have a half a cup and you want to take that half a cup and make half of it. What are you gonna use? What kind of a cup are you gonna use to do half of a cup or half of a half? A quarter cup. 2 quarters make a half. 2 halves make a whole. Okay, oopsie, I just put 2. I want 4. 1 quarter, 1/4. Then if I take 1/4 and I divide it by 2, 1/8. And if I take 1/8 and divide it by 2, I get 1/16. Any questions over that? Okay, so we need to come up with the rule for negative exponents. So say I want to have to the -15th. How would I know what that is? So I don't have to list it all out and keep dividing by 2. So our rule is a negative exponent Okay, so negative exponents, you're gonna take the reciprocal of the base. An example of the reciprocal, in this case, if your base is 2, the reciprocal is 1/2. You flip the whole number. Then raise it to the given power. Okay, so if we had 2 to the -4 would equal the reciprocal to the 4th power, which gives me 1/16. Any questions over that? Okay, let's do some problems that have negative exponents. So when you're dealing with exponents, you should probably work from the outside in. So when you have parentheses, you want to work on that exponent that's on the outside first. Okay. So in this case, it's a -2 as my exponent. So negative exponents you're gonna flip the base and make the exponent positive. Okay, you're gonna work from the inside out. You're gonna have the negative exponent. You're gonna flip the base and make the exponent positive. The base in this case is everything in those parentheses. So it's gonna be 1 over 3x cubed, the whole thing squared. Okay, does anyone remember what to do now? Can somebody tell me the rule for power of monomials? Okay, does anyone remember those rules? What do I do with exponents when I have a power of a power? What'd you say? Multiply the exponents. Okay, so we need to distribute first. The power to the coefficient and multiply the exponents. So the 2 is going to go to the 3 and to the 3, to the exponent of 3. So I'm going to get 1 over 3 squared times x to the 3 times 2 power. How are we doing so far? Then we're just going to do the multiplication. So 3 squared is 9, and x to the 3 times 2 is 6. So it's 1 over 9x to the 6th. Any questions over that? Okay, let's do the next one. Okay, this is very similar to one we just did. Can somebody identify the difference? Mm-hmm. Very good. This time the exponent inside the parentheses is negative and the one on the outside is positive. We're still going to work from our outside in. Okay, so this one I don't have to flip it first. This one I just have to distribute it first. So here I'm just going to take this and I'm distribute it through. So this time we're going to do the power of monomials. Let me zoom in here. Again, raise the coefficient to the given power and multiply the exponents. Okay, so I'm going to have 3 squared times x to the negative 3 times 2. So that's going to give me 9x to the negative 6th. Now we can't leave negative exponents in my answer. We have to change that. So now we have to flip it. Now we have to use our rule for negative exponents. Okay. We have to flip the base. And make the exponent positive. That's our rule for negative exponents. Now determining the base here is what's going to be tricky. What is the base of my exponent that's negative 6? Everyone tell the person sitting next to them, what do you think the base is? Okay, I heard lots of unsures. Rihanna, what do we think the base is? Okay, what has the negative exponent? How's that? Just x. The base is x. Okay. So that is the only thing we're flipping. We're not flipping the 9. The 9 gets to stay where it is. The only thing that has a base or has an exponent that's negative is x. So now this is going to become 9 times 1 over x to the 6th. We can put the 9 over 1. And so our last step is to multiply. And that's going to give me 9 over x to the 6th. Any questions over that? We're good? Okay, next one. Very similar yet again, but slightly different. Okay, we're going to do the same idea. We're going to work from the outside in. Okay, class, what do you think we should do first then? Okay, before we did that, we have to go back to where we did at the beginning. That's negative first, right? So we want to flip it first. Okay, since my outside exponent is negative, we're going to flip it. So this is going to be 1 over 3x to the negative 3 and then squared. Any questions over that? Okay, now we're going to distribute it through. So it's going to be 1 over 3 squared x to the negative 3 times 2. So it's very close to what we did to that first problem. So you get 1 over 9 x to the negative 6. Almost identical to that first problem that we did. There's only a slight difference. What's different, class? Let's try this again. Class, what's different? Good. I love that one person is talking to me right now. What's different from that one and this one? The negative exponent, right? So we need to take this and take the reciprocal of it. So the 1 over 9 doesn't change. It's the x to the negative 6. That needs to flip. And since the x over 6 is on the bottom of the fraction, when you flip it, it goes to the top. Any questions over that? We're all good? Okay, then we multiply straight across. And we get x to the 6th over 9. Okay, how are we doing? Okay, next one. Actually, I want you guys to do E. Skip D for now. Do E in your pairs. E is very similar to what we've just been doing. I lost my pen. So we're going to start from the outside in. Its outside is negative, so I'm going to flip this. Quiet down, please. Then we need to distribute that exponent to everything. So it's going to be 1 over 4 squared, x to the 2 times 2, y to the negative 3 times 2. So that's going to be 1 over 16. A lot of us forgot to square the 4, or we squared 4 and got 8. 4 times 4 is 16. We're not done yet because we need to take that negative and take the reciprocal of it. So it should be 1 over 16x to the 4th times y to the 6th. When you flip it, the negative exponent becomes positive. Multiply straight across and get y to the 6th over 16x to the 4th. Any questions over that? Okay, let's go back to D. And we need to remember the rule for D. D is dividing. Does anybody remember the rule for dividing? What do we do with exponents when we're dividing? Okay, that's if we wrote it all out. Okay, but I can't write out a negative x to the negative 4th, right? It's a little bit more difficult. So what did we have to do? Subtract the exponents. But if you want to write it out, you can. Just make sure you flip the negative exponent. Okay, so let's remember rule for dividing monomials. And that was divide / reduce. You guys, if I'm writing it, you write it. I should see pens writing. Thank you. The coefficients. And subtract the exponents. Okay, so 3 and 15 can both be divided by 3, so I'm going to divide them both by 3. 3 divided by 3 is 1, and 15 divided by 3 is 5. So I'm going to get 1/5. Then we're going to subtract the exponents. Remember, the biggest number is where I'm going towards. So is negative 4 or 6 bigger? 6. So I'm going to take the negative 4 to the 6. And I'm going to get x to the 6 minus negative 4. And again, which one's bigger, 2 or negative 1? 2. So I'm going to move this up to this and get y to the 2 minus negative 1. So now it's just our integer rules. What's minus a negative? Adding, it's positive, right? So I'm going to get y to the third over 5x to the 10th. Any questions over that? Okay, last one. Okay, with multiplying, does anybody remember the rule for multiplying? What do we do with exponents when we're multiplying? Who said it? Add them. We're going to add them. Okay, so remember that rule. Multiplying monomials. That was multiply the coefficients and add the exponents. Multiply the coefficients and add the exponents. So we're going to do 2 times 5 is 10. And then we're going to have x to the 3 plus negative 1. And y to the negative 4 plus negative 2. So we're going to get 10. 3 plus a negative, that's subtraction, they're opposite signs. So that gives me x squared. And y, negative 4, negative 2 is negative 6. And again, we can't leave a negative in my answer. I have to flip it. So y is the only thing with a negative exponent. So I'm going to get 10x squared over 1 times 1 over y to the 6. Remember, you take the reciprocal and make the exponent positive. Then you're going to multiply straight across and get 10x squared over y to the 6th. Any questions over that? Okay, so now I want you guys to simplify and write how you simplify the following expression. So now you're going to give me the steps just like I did. I modeled it in number 1 and 2 and even, sorry, in A and B. So you're going to write out the steps. What are you going to do first? Just like I did in example A and B. So look back at A and B to help you out. Okay, so tonight's homework is your THQ. Due tomorrow, or sorry, tonight by 8 p.m. No. Your